I invite Professor Jameela Begum. Welcome remarks for the seminar. Please, ma'am, come.
A very warm welcome to everyone who has joined us on this very significant seminar that is being jointly held by TIS, Vakkom Moulavi Foundation and the Center for Development Studies. Our seminar is actually on a topic that is of seminal importance in today's society, particularly Kerala society. The seminar topic, Language and Culture in a Changing Society, Research to Support Kerala's Education System, is something that has in fact engaged the minds of Kerala educationists for a very long time, and institutions like SCRT and CMAT in Kerala have made significant contributions. And we know that teaching and learning is a process that keeps on changing, and educational practices also need to change with time. And that is why I think we are here to debate on the changing society in Kerala and the need to foster better learning tools, materials, assessment programs for our students. At the outcome, I would like to say a few words about VMFT, particularly the foundation, which has been organizing many seminars in the educational fields, as also a number of important seminars on Vakkom Moulavi's contribution and his contemporaries in Kerala. We just had last week a very significant seminar on Vakkom Moulavi and his contemporaries on tradition, dialogue, and dissent. I say it was a very useful and very fascinating seminar that we had. Today, we have so many educationists here with us, and I must particularly welcome Professor Veeramani of CDS, who is joining us. From TIS, we have Professor Padma Sarangabani, who has co-organized this seminar series along with VMFT. And of course, from CBS, we have Professor Devika and Professor Suraj Jacob, who have joined us in organizing this. The seminar logistics have been put together by Emmanuel from CBS, Manjuma, our seminar coordinator, Aina Krishnan, Aishwarya from the VMFT office, and we are all here with the scholars who have joined us from different parts of India. A very warm welcome to all of you who have traveled from Delhi, from Hyderabad to be with us at LU, which is like a parent department for me because I'm also from the English department. So very warm welcome to all the students and the scholars who have joined us today. To open this seminar on this very fascinating topic of education is indeed an honor and a privilege. And I must say that when we join education with culture, we are actually establishing a symbiotic relationship between the two. Because culture is something that is not static, it is something that keeps on changing. So also education. What is the education scenario in Kerala today? I was part of the CMAT, that is a State Institute for Educational Management and Training, where teachers get together, the heads of the schools get together, they debate, talk about how best to transact the materials that are put before them. Now that is, my concern has always been with that, the methodology of teaching. However, well we make the curriculum or syllabus. However, when we talk about multilingualism or bilingualism, unless the teachers are equipped to interact and transact that material with the students, it becomes, I would say, irrelevant. I wouldn't use the word useless, but it becomes very irrelevant if you don't have the teachers equipped to transact the material that has been put before them. I was also part of the additional skill acquisition program and where we concentrated more on the methodology of teaching rather than the curriculum or the syllabus. This is not to say that the curriculum and the materials are not important, not at all. With the changing times, we need also to change. We have talked about student-centered learning. We have talked about the teacher as a facilitator. We have talked about CALL, computer-aided language learning. We have talked about teaching English to students of other languages. We have talked about ESL. We have talked about English for specific purposes. So we have talked about a number of possible ways in which learning can happen. Particularly in the Kerala context, I think we have to realize this at the outset of this conference. Kerala has a very multilingual population today, particularly with migrants from different states of India. And to top it all, Kerala students are leaving Kerala. In the 2023, we had something like 125,000 odd students leaving the states. By the time it became 2024, it was double that number. So the importance of acquiring or the acquisition of the English language has become very important. Secondly, when we are transacting the material, we also need to know that culture-specific things are what fascinate students in areas like wine art, tribal areas. One of the problems that we confronted with the acquisition skill program was we used to keep early morning classes, 8 o'clock classes, and the students said there are no buses for us to get to the place of education. And they had to leave after class. And they said it's very dangerous. And you know what is happening in Kerala and other states also, where girls cannot travel alone in the dark.
Yes,
so
Anna?
overall, physical, I would say, restrictions that were placed on language learning. But that was principally sort of programmed to teach the language community. And also to invite and give the students they will need in a professional context. Professionalism in teaching is something that we have to debate at this seminar, I think, because are teachers professional enough to transact the material that is put before them? To come back to the bilingualism that I was talking about, the cultural specificity of the material to our students. What fascinates students in the cities? We had some time back a seminar or sorts of the tribal people coming to the university, and they recited the points that they had written and the kind of what interests students in, say, the tribal areas or in the rural students is different from what interests students in the cities. Do we have this as a component in our training materials, in our teaching materials or the learning materials? The poems that they recited talked more about their ways of eating, their contact with nature, their relationship with animals. How much of this do we have in our textbooks that teach English? And we say that they are very poor in reading. They are poor in reading because the content does not interest them. You give them something that has happened, say, in another part of the world, and you ask them to read. And particularly, I remember when we were students, all those nursery rhymes that we learned, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. We never knew what it really meant, but it was the rhythm or the music of the language that got us. But today's students, I must say, are very, very practical. They want to know about conditions, situations that they live with. So you give them a text which appeals to them, and I'm sure the reading capability of the student will increase. Instead of saying categorically that students are poor readers today. They are poor because we are not giving them the kind of right material that interests them. Secondly, what we have found is the grammar translation method has been used too much in our classrooms. You teach them the grammar, you teach them to write, but not to speak. It is the speaking part, never mind if they are inaccurate. Fluency over accuracy is very important today. You go all over the world and you will find particularly young students, they are not bothered about the accuracy of the language, but they communicate. And they say, yeah, we should understand that it is yes. So that's the language that they are used to. Or they say something very fast, sometimes particularly American English, when half the vowels and consonants are swallowed and you hear only half of it. That is the kind of communication that they will be using, and I'm emphasizing this. Our Kerala students are going abroad, and what they need is a kind of language that is globally used. And if we can give them that kind of language, I think that is the sympathy that we can give. During the discussions, I'll talk more about this. But at the moment, I know I'm overstepping time. So thank you very much for being here. And I just raised a few points that I think you should be thinking about in the 2 days of deliberation. Thank you very much.